What's up, guys? Crewman Tommy here. Now, you may not like me for this one, but today we are going to question the judgment of one of the greatest Starfleet captains ever known.
Sir, there's another starship coming in. It's the Enterprise.
The one and only JLP.
I'm willing to entertain suggestions.
Now let's stop pretending this was a clean victory, because it wasn't. The events surrounding Star Trek First Contact are usually framed as one of Starfleet's finest moments. Captain Jean-Luc Picard saves Earth, restores the timeline, ensures humanity's first contact with the Vulcans. Roll credits, mission accomplished.
Helm standing by.
Mr. Data, laying a course for the 24th century. I suspect our future is there waiting for us.
That's the version everyone likes. But it's not the whole story, because nearly a century later, we find out something that completely undermines that narrative. Picard and his crew didn't finish the job. In the episode of Star Trek Enterprise, Regeneration, human researchers in the Arctic uncover Borg debris from 2063. Not harmless wreckage, not inert scraps, dormant Borg drones just sitting there on Earth for decades waiting. So let's ask the obvious question. How does that happen? How does the crew of the Enterprise E, armed with advanced sensors, transporter precision, and first-hand Borg trauma, just miss this? We're talking about a crew that can scan life signs through solid matter, track subspace distortions across light years, and yet somehow they leave Borg tech behind on Earth.
Mr. Data, laying a course for the 24th century.
That's not a footnote. That's negligence. And don't buy the idea that this was some unforeseeable outcome. The Borg don't need much. They need organic material, energy, time. That's about it. Picard knew this better than anyone. So leaving behind even fragments of Borg technology isn't just careless, it's reckless. And yes, the mission was chaotic, time travel, active combat.
And I've spent the last 20 minutes trying to keep his hands off me.
The Borg Queen on board, the timeline hanging by a thread. But here's the reality. That's when discipline matters most. Once the Phoenix launched, once first contact was secured, the mission didn't end. It changed from survival to containment. And containment failed. And then there's the group that's supposed to prevent all this, the Department of Temporal Investigations, the so-called Guardians of the Timeline. We're told nothing slips past them. No contamination, no unauthorized tech, no timeline drift, except that's exactly what this is. Borg technology from the future, left in the past, reactivating decades later. This is their entire job description, and yet no intervention, no correction, no accountability. They missed it or they allowed it. Neither answer inspires confidence. So let's be very clear about the stakes. Those Arctic drones didn't stay frozen forever. They reactivated, they adapted, they assimilated, and they tried to contact the collective.
Stop what you're doing!
If that signal had gone through more effectively, you're looking at a Borg presence on Earth long before humanity was ready. That's not a close call. That's a near catastrophe. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Picard may have been too close to this, His history with the Borg is deeply personal.
What's wrong, Locutus? Isn't this familiar? Organic minds are such fragile things.
And that kind of experience can create tunnel vision. You focus on the immediate threat, you destroy what's in front of you, and you assume the rest doesn't matter. But with the Borg, the leftovers are the threat. And maybe that's the bigger issue, because this fits a pattern. Win the battle, celebrate the victory, move on. Ignore what's left behind.
Mr. Data, laying a course for the 24th century.
Except with the Borg, what's left behind is the problem.
You owe me a ship, Picard.
Now here's where things get even more interesting. Was the writing team at Star Trek to blame for not carefully considering what this episode of Star Trek Enterprise Regeneration would mean to the legacy of Picard? This issue exists because of a Star Trek creative decision, and prequels have a temptation they rarely resist, connecting everything back to what we already know. It sounds great on paper, tie the Borg into earlier history, create continuity, add depth, but there's a cost, because every time you insert a new storyline into the past, you risk breaking something in the future. In this case, you didn't just add a cool Borg episode, you retroactively created a scenario where one of Starfleet's most respected captains appears negligent and incompetent. That's the danger. When you expand backward, you don't just build lore, you rewrite responsibility. And suddenly, a clean, heroic narrative becomes complicated, messy, questionable. So let's be honest about this. Yes, Picard saved Earth in 2063, but he didn't secure it. He didn't eliminate the threat completely. And because of that, Earth stayed vulnerable without even knowing it. History remembers Star Trek First Contact as a victory.
Population approximately 9 billion. All Borg.
But if you look closer, it's also a mistake that took 90 years to notice. So let me know your take down in the comments, and don't forget to like this video, and if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. Don't miss myself, Crewman PVG, and Crewman Magics every week for the Technically Trek podcast, where we talk about these types of things, and sometimes things can get a little heated. So we'll leave it at that. I'm Crewman Tommy. We'll catch you guys next time. Live long and prosper.